Welcome to the home of Medgar and Myrlie Evers and their 3 children, Daryl, Rena, and Van. This home now stands as the Medgar and Myrlie Evers Home National Monument, a tribute to the activism and the sacrifice of Medgar Evers and his family in their fight to build a more just world for all of us. But the Evers home is, at its core, a home, a place of refuge and celebration, a place of music, laughter, and joy. Step inside and get to know this remarkable family and the life they shared together here in Jackson, Mississippi. Medgar Evers got his start as a civil rights organizer during his time as an agent for the Magnolia Mutual Life Insurance Company in Mound Bayou, Mississippi. Dr. T.R.M. Howard, who ran the company along with several other Mound Bayou businesses, founded the Regional Council of Negro Leadership in 1951. And Medgar Evers became one of its leaders. The RCNL organized rallies and voter registration efforts, and in 1952 launched a successful boycott of service stations, urging African Americans, don't buy gas where you can't use the restroom. This early introduction to field organizing was a crucial part of Medgar Evers' activist education. Myrlie Evers began taking piano lessons at age 4. On the urging of her aunt and grandmother. Myrlie planned to attend Fisk University as a music major, but was denied an out-of-state scholarship and chose to enroll instead at Alcorn State University, where she met Medgar Evers. There were few opportunities for African-American women in classical music, but Myrlie played regularly at home and as a church organist in Jackson, Mississippi. In 2012, Myrlie played a concert at Carnegie Hall, fulfilling her grandmother's childhood dream. At the height of Medgar Evers' organizing work, newspapers were crucial sources of information and played key roles in shaping public opinion of the Mississippi movement. Newspapers run by the White Citizens Council circulated to tens of thousands of readers, spreading misinformation and racial hatred. The Jackson Advocate, Jackson's African-American-run weekly newspaper, took a conservative stance, advocating for separate but equal facilities and collaboration with white leadership. In 1961, Medgar Evers and a team of activists and journalists founded the Mississippi Free Press, which was the only newspaper in the state that provided accurate and unvarnished reporting on civil rights and the brutality of white supremacy. The Evers family home was full of books, perhaps most notably, a well-used set of encyclopedias. These encyclopedias provided education and information about the world during a time of political upheaval. As a World War II veteran, Medgar was keenly aware of the connection between Nazi Germany and the Jim Crow South. He was especially tuned in to the African independence movements of the 1950s and the 1960s, including the end of colonial rule in Ghana in 1957. The Evers family understood that all struggles for freedom are connected. The Evers family maintained a close group of friends and collaborators, many of whom spent time at their home and passed long hours deep in conversation at the dining room table. The workday often transitioned from Medgar's office at Stringer Lodge to the home, where Medgar and Myrlie hosted meetings about the ongoing work of the Jackson movement. Friends including James Baldwin and Margaret Walker sat at the table, imagining a more just future. Medgar was always concerned about the security of his family, placing beds on the floor, installing a pebble roof to alert him to intruders, and establishing safety practices like hiding in the bathtub and getting out of the car through the passenger side to allow quicker access to the side door. Although the home was a place of relative safety, the family and their neighbors were keenly aware that they were under siege. Violent responses to Medgar's activism were commonplace and included constant racist phone calls made to the family's telephone. Myrlie would occasionally leave the phone off the hook to prevent these calls. She did her best to stop the children from answering the phone and having to hear these threats of violence coming into their home. Medgar Evers was a college athlete and an Army veteran who was serious about his health. His family members tell stories of him making smoothies in a blender in the kitchen and exercising frequently. It was here, too, that Myrlie cooked meals for the family and their friends. Medgar and Myrlie were devoted parents to 3 children, Darrell, Rena, and James, nicknamed Van. Growing up in the turmoil of the Mississippi Civil Rights Movement was not easy, but they had a loving and joy-filled childhood, picking peaches, figs, and plums from trees in their backyard, watching Tarzan movies, and dancing to Chubby Checker records. Medgar's assassination was traumatizing for the entire family, and the lasting fear of violence led to the family's relocation to Southern California in 1964. Darrell became an avant-garde artist and entrepreneur. Van took up his father's love of photography, and Rena Evers Everett followed in her mother's footsteps into the business world. She now serves as the executive director of the Medgar and Myrlie Evers Institute. On May 20th, 1963, the Evers family likely gathered here to watch Medgar appear on local news to offer a strong rebuttal to a televised speech by Jackson segregationist mayor Allen Thompson. The speech shared Medgar's voice with all Mississippians. A few weeks later, on the night of Medgar's assassination, Myrlie and the children sat on the bed watching President John F. Kennedy deliver a speech on civil rights following the desegregation of the University of Alabama. Kennedy spoke about the need for equal rights in America and presented his vision for legislation that would become the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Kennedy acknowledged the work and courage of civil rights leaders like Medgar and Myrlie Evers.
In this respect, I want to pay tribute to those citizens north and south who've been working in their communities to make life better for all. They are acting not out of a sense of legal duty, but out of a sense of human decency. Like our soldiers and sailors in all parts of the world, they are meeting freedom's challenge on the firing line, and I salute them for their honor and their courage.
On the evening of June 11th, 1963, Medgar attended a celebration at New Jerusalem Baptist Church after a day of picketing on Capitol Street. The meeting ran long, and Medgar arrived home after midnight. He got out of his treasured powder blue Oldsmobile and took a box of Jim Crow Must Go t-shirts out of the trunk. A shot rang out from across the street, and he was gunned down in his driveway. Myrlie ran to the carport to find him, and friends and neighbors loaded his body onto Rena's mattress to take him to the University of Mississippi Medical Center, where he died. Medgar was 37 years old. His legacy lives on in the civil rights movement he helped to build, and in the ongoing work of Myrlie Evers Williams and all the activists he inspired.